This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. I got a little fuzz buzzing around my head right there. Well, I've sent off a bunch of mugs. I also sent Colleen a hoodie for the channel and a mug that said a watched pig doesn't boil. Yeah. Oh yeah, she's gonna like that. Takes them a while to get to you, and if they break, you have to. If you call them up, they'll send you a new one. I mean, on the shipment. Yeah. Yeah, I even it even has Dan Carr as a quote. You know, the person who his name's on the mug. I have it in quotes and then a little. Gene, if you're an encyclopedia, how hard is it to email somebody? Come on, Gene. Yeah. And I'm not going to be, you know, the whole thing with Harvey over there. I don't think he's well, so I think he needs to, I think he needs to get healthy again or something. So I'm going to try to leave that channel alone. I mean, everybody over there are just absolute, kookadoodles or whatever the hell you want to call them. Just absolutely crazy people, that actually believe that stuff. So hopefully he gets well and can get back to, some semblance of normalcy. I think that'd be great. I was actually feeling sorry for him earlier, like, wow, man. Sorry you're in this way. I hope you feel better, So, yeah. Well, let's say it's so simple, Gene, that now it makes me question your other stuff. It's like it's so easy to put an email in and send an email. No, it's horrific. Everything that you're seeing over there is not reality, Stephen. None of it. Maybe some names of people that maybe were there, but the ones that are done with the images of the suspect with all these filters on it, absolute garbage. Okay, so that's when you know that there's something a little off. So I'm hoping that he gets the help he needs and gets healthy. All right. Yeah, so we got these cold cases here. Kind of the old school deal. Let me close down some of these windows here. Got so many open. Yeah, you don't have to watch or anything if you don't like it. Okay. Gotta open up the folder now. That was cool in the All-Star game. Lillard made a couple, like, half quarters. It was crazy. He had 32 points. Didn't win the MVP, though. Thank you, Kevin Brown. I like Matt's comment up above. Yeah, he said, where was that one? Yeah, the Pacific time zone is rough for me. I'm off to bed too. I look forward to the replay. Freak out. Yeah. Good stuff, Matt. Good stuff. And then I was on a live today with, not on the live, but in the live with Chasing Truth, and she was saying how good I was doing. And then, of course, Laura comes in with, well, Gray isn't really that, you know, he's just an average person. You know, he doesn't really have any... I mean, you know what I think? I think the people in the true crime community, the actual true crime, the drama YouTubers, they're a little bit antisocial now. They've actually their natural comment is something passive-aggressive now. They think it's sort of tricky. Even if you didn't mean it to be passive-aggressive, almost every single comment that you make is passive-aggressive because you're so used to it. You know? So, it's such a strange thing to say out loud. You know, like, you type it in right after somebody's complimenting somebody, you're in this chat, and you go, well, he is, you know, he's just a regular person, everybody. Yeah, I mean, I am just a regular person. Okay, but when somebody's complimenting and saying you're doing good work, you don't need to try to go in and sort of... It was just weird. You know, I'm a regular person, but I think differently than most people. Okay? But I'm just a regular, you know, not some, you know, movie star or some kind of a, you know, rocket scientist like Colleen or something. I'm a regular person, but I've always thought differently, so maybe that makes me different than other people. Okay? But it's strange how people, you know, in that community, every sentence that comes out of their mouth, when you listen to it, is a little bit passive-aggressive. It's almost like that's just sort of their natural way of speaking now. Man, I'd hate to be one of the husbands there, you know, after maybe you had some, you know, a sexual encounter. You'd probably be sarcastic and all kinds of shit, and the guy would probably feel like absolute garbage. Yeah, it's just really weird. You know, I couldn't believe it. I was like, really? Was that, you know, kind of a strange comment. But thank you. Yeah, that was really fun. Boy, that felt great. You know, like, hey, listen, you're not on your show now. Hello. Yeah, right, exactly, Danette. Just like that. Yep. Yeah, that was okay, yeah. You know. Like, he's all excited. Man, that was awesome. Yeah, you know. You're not all that. Yeah, and then you wonder why he's down the street calling up some sex workers. You know, it's... they probably pretend, at least, that it was fun. But man, if you're a true crime, you're a drama YouTuber, that's exactly what you sound like. Every single time you talk, you listen, you just read all the chats, and you just think, my God, are you kidding me? Could you imagine being with that person on a daily basis when their attitude has become passive aggressive, just as their natural speaking style? Man, because they're just so jacked up every show. They gotta, you know, they're always defending themselves. But they figured out a way to attack without saying anything. Really, really strange. I didn't really realize that until just recently. I was reading the comments. Just bizarre. So, how is it? Everybody got their hellos out of the way? I was just kind of going on a rift. You know, here, just a rift here just to kill some time. Not a rift, but a... Yeah. Not naturally. Yeah. Well, if you're a wife and you're in the drama community, wow, watch out. Watch out. Hey, looks like somebody from Oregon here. Hey, thanks for letting us know, Jennifer. Really interesting stuff there. Everybody, Jennifer's watching Seinfeld right now because it's bedtime. It was just, we were all on hand, sitting on our hand, just going, oh my God, what is, whoa, that's so amazing. Oh, God. Let's see. Yeah, I know. I'm just goofing around, Jennifer. You need to let it just be the way it is. Because if you read it, it's just, hey, Seinfeld is on TV, everybody. My son and I watch it at bedtime. It's like saying, you know what I do? I drink a glass of water, and it feels good as the water rolls down. Those of us who are married a very long time still say, yeehaw, thank you, baby. Yep. Right. Yeah. Anyways, I posted the winners of the contest on the community post. So if you see something in there, your name in there, make sure that you send me over your address, and I'll send it. I've sent off. I don't know. I'm not gonna check for you though. Okay. You know if you haven't sent it to me yet. Okay. If you already sent it to me, do not send it again. Wondering if I got your first one. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah? I should have put not talking about Delphi in the title. We'd have 300 people watching. Because the word Delphi is in there. Okay, so the first case we're going to go over tonight is Kathleen Lombardo. I think Michelle McNamara, that's the case that she started doing. I didn't realize that till I was looking at it, but apparently that's one of her first, that's the one that got her into doing true crime, I guess. It's in her book. I did yesterday, Wally. You must not have been watching. Alright, here we go. This is her right there. Kathleen Lombardo. And this is in Illinois. I think this is the one with Michelle McNamara. I can't remember exactly. It might not. It might be one of the other ones. But anyways, we'll get whenever her name comes up, then we'll realize that's the one we're talking about, right? So this took place on August 1st, 1984 in Oak Park, Illinois. Oak Park police Thursday stepped up patrols in pursuit of a man suspected of fatally stabbing of a 24-year-old woman who had been jogging near her home. Police Chief Keith Bergstrom said a description of the suspect and the methods are similar to that of a man who sexually assaulted 4 women in the area in October and December of 1982. So just 2 years prior. The suspect in those cases was never apprehended. A witness saw a man closely watching Kathleen Lombardo while she was jogging about 9:45 p.m. And this is August, so it's not, it's still a little light out, I would imagine, at that time. Not much, but... so she's out jogging, 9:45 in the evening on Wednesday, August 1st. 1984. Lombardo was found dead at about 10 p.m. in the bushes of an alley about 1 block from where she had been jogging. Bergstrom said a kitchen knife was found at the scene, but a handle has not been found, he said. So it's almost like the just ferocious stabbing where the blade broke off at one point and then he ran off with the handle. Police who were called to the scene by passerby who observed the body in the alley believe the body was found within a matter of minutes after the slaying. Yeah, because she was seen jogging at 9:45 and then her body is found at 10. The suspect is described a 6-foot-tall male of medium to muscular build between the ages of 25 and 30 with a blue bandana around his head and wearing a yellow tank top, dark shorts, and knee-length white athletic socks. The woman's father, Domini, described her as a very sweet girl who never felt the fear we felt as she jogged at night. He said he and his wife had warned her that going out alone at night was dangerous. Yep. So there she goes. Now here's the question. Why would she go jogging by? Who cares why she would go jogging by herself? That's what happened. See, a lot of people ask questions in the true crime community that the question doesn't need to be asked. It doesn't matter, for example, in the Libyan Abbey case, it doesn't matter at all why they were allowed to go to the bridge. It doesn't matter at all that people go across that bridge and it's closed down. That part of the story is absolutely meaningless. Okay? It has no bearing on the case, but people ask those kind of questions because they don't, it's sort of like it doesn't comport with their higher, moral superiority or their behavioral superiority. Like, I would never do that. Therefore, I'm going to ask the question to establish to everybody in the audience who's listening that I wouldn't do that. Therefore, I'm better than that person. Okay? Happens every time. It's the most amazing phenomenon in the world. Just look in the mirror next time. Don't ask the question. All right. I'm going to move on to the next. There's another article from the same day. A little bit more information. An Oak Park woman whose passion for brisk evening walk led to her death was killed in an area of the suburb in which she felt safe, her roommate said Thursday. She loved to walk and wanted to be a mail carrier, said Nancy Schwank of her roommate. So she liked to walk, and then she thought, hey, maybe I'll be a mail carrier. And Kathleen Lombardo, whose body was found late Wednesday in an alley within a block of the Oak Park home where she grew up. Yeah, that thing is I couldn't find where she grew up. Illinois doesn't put the addresses, it doesn't seem. They'll give you blocks and things like that. An Oak Park police unit was assigned Thursday to investigate whether there is a connection between the 24-year-old woman's death and 4 similar but non-fatal sexual assaults on Oak Park women in 1982. A man seen in the area seemed to be staring at her, so there's a guy that was actually seen kind of leering at her and may have followed her, Bergstrom said, witnesses reported. He said the description matched closely that of the man seen in the 1982 attacks. The body of Lombardo, who lived in the... Well, what you're saying in there, Don Spain, is... No, a lot of the other facts matter, because facts help you figure out who the... maybe who did it, how things went down. But those kind of questions that I just mentioned have zero relevance to the case at all. Like, why would they be allowed to go hiking at that place? Why would she go jogging at night? It's absolutely irrelevant. Okay? You understand? Everybody understands that, right? Like, tell me how you can kind of work it into the case and sort of how it could help figure out anything. Yeah, I didn't think so. Alright, the body of Lombardo, who lived in the 300 block of West Washington Boulevard. Alright, let me get to that.
Well, Gray, you didn't even give him time to give you an answer.
Well, because there isn't one. Thank you. Yeah, let me... Yeah, shoot. 300 West... I couldn't find the exact location. It was really... I spent like an hour. It really drove me nuts. So 300 West Washington Boulevard. Yeah, no, that's not right. Hold on. In Oak Park. Yeah, so this is apparently where she lived, sort of around in this area. Let's see, I think 400's over here. Let me put that in there. So you can see 300, 400. Now it's this way, so it's actually just right in between here, apparently. She lived. Okay, so it's in between 300 and 400. But what they describe later down in the article, it says, was found at 10:04 p.m. Wednesday in an alley a block south of the Chicago and Northwestern Railroad tracks. She had been stabbed in the chest and throat, and it appears she had been sexually molested. Okay, well, here's the railroad tracks right there. And then I found a picture here. Not that one. Hold on. Right there. In a later article from 2020, actually. And you can see that's the same picture that was in that article, but it's the clear version of it. So when you're looking at this, you can see, okay, look at on this alley at the end of the street there's a building. And then it looks like way in the background there's a taller building way over there. So, you know, you go here and that's where she lived, and it was only a few blocks from her home. It doesn't look like there's really any tall buildings that way. There is one right there that sort of looks even like the one in the picture back there. But I mean, it actually looks like that. You have the top of the building, and then there's a little jog, and then there's something up there. But I don't know if that's the same one. And if that is the right one, then you'd think that maybe somewhere right around in here would be the... Not that one. It's an alley, so it's in between, like something like this. I mean, a lot of these areas look exactly like it. This one, though, doesn't have a building at the end of the street, so that's not one that I would have picked. So that's an alley right here. Then there's an alley right there. Then there's an alley right here. Now that one has a building at the very end, so if you went down to Street View here and you look at it, I mean, that looks, you know, has some similarities to it, but the building doesn't look right in the background. There's also, I can't see through the trees if there's a taller building back there. It's interesting right there. I see a tall building right through there, but you know, I don't know if it's really that important which one of these, but it apparently was on one of these alleys And again, if you go back, that's where 300 is. They said a few blocks from her home, but 1 block from the railroad tracks. So could be some of these, like this one. Yeah, but either way, she was found in an alley right around in this area, somewhere around in there. And there's the crime scene tape. And maybe she's even was found like right around in here. Looks like they pulled those bushes off. Let me check something out here. There was one that actually looked like that. And I didn't really thinking about it like that. Let me go down here. Yeah, this is one that I was interested in at first, because there's the building at the end. Some of the other, this thing looks like that could be, when you look at that one, hold on, it looks like it could be that, right? The one with the horizontal, and then there's a fence. I can't see the fence, and then, nothing else really works. Although, that actually works back there. Maybe there was something that was removed that was between those, except it doesn't jut out far enough. So it's just, I can't tell, It wasn't something that just stuck out. But maybe bushes like that is where her body was found. It's in Oak Park, Illinois. Yeah, so, alright. Let's just go to the rest of the articles really quick. So the next one was on the 4th. Well, actually, let me finish the first one. The last one we were just on. Alright. She did have fears, certainly, Schwank said. She was just as afraid as the next person, and she was doing a juggling act between being afraid and not being a prisoner of her fear in her own home. She had been stabbed in the chest and throat, and it appears she had been sexually molested. Okay. The tragic irony is that her feeling was that where she was, God, wow, that's the worst written thing. The tragic irony is that her feeling was that where she was murdered, was where she felt the most safe. She was half a block from where she had grown up. She knew families on that block, and she had remarked to me when we talked about her walking that she was careful to select areas where she felt she could run to someone for help in the case she got into trouble. Yeah, but I wonder if there's a way. I think I had the obituary, and then you could find the parents who probably lived longer, and then they'd be on that other site that I was looking at. Yeah, I said Illinois, right? Oak Park, Illinois, yep. Or did I say that, or did I say something else? A regular route, which was varied periodically. Let's see. So right here it says, Schwank said Lombardo had a regular route, which was varied periodically, but there were portions of the route which remained the same. It would have been easy to predict where she would be with a high degree of accuracy. Lombardo, a sales clerk in the Marshall Field and Company Loop store, had been seen by witnesses at 9:45 p.m. as she walked and jogged on Pleasant Street. Oh, now we got that. On Pleasant Street near Wesley Avenue. All right, here we go. Let's see. Pleasant Street and Wesley. Oh yeah, see, it's so much further away than they were saying. Interesting. So this is Pleasant Street. So now I'm wondering if it's one of these. So she was seen right in this area. And the wording is, she jogged on Pleasant Street near Wesley Avenue. So it could have been here or past it. We don't really know, but seen jogging at 9:45. So let's see where that 300 again is. That seems like it's way away from that. 300 West Washington. Yeah, see, that's nowhere near there. And but it's crazy because that's a block from there. So I think we're right in, I might not even have looked this far over. Let me see if that's an alley there. And could that be it? Just a different color? Yeah, hold on. If there's a horizontal stripe barn. Or not a barn. Ooh, that one. Yeah, let me open up that image again. So that's the one I'm looking at right there, to be that one. And look at well, let's see. Come on, keep going. Yeah, see, that doesn't match the one in the picture. Let me just go a little bit further down and look at this building to see if it has those windows on it. Two at the top by themselves. And it looks a little different than that. See, it's right there. It looks like a brick building. Well, let me check this out. Alright, so anyways, that's where she was seen running. Maybe we can narrow it down later. I don't know. So she was jogging on Pleasant Street near Wesley Avenue. According to Schwank, it was Lombardo's custom to take at least a 1-hour brisk walk each evening. Schwank said she last saw her roommate at 7:30 p.m. Wednesday when she left the apartment. Okay. And yes, you guys, I realize this isn't Delphi or the drama, something to do with drama, but every night's the same. We got to keep on trucking. You know what I'm saying? All right, now moving on to August 4th. Kathleen Lombardo. More information here. So this is about the mass will be at 10 a.m. Saturday for Kathleen Mary Lombardo, 24, an Oak Park resident stabbed to death less than a block from the home in which she grew up. The mass will be at St. Edmund Catholic Church at 188 South Oak Park Avenue. Miss Lombardo, who worked as a sales clerk in the Loop store, thank you very much, Mag, of Marshall Field and CC, was pronounced dead Wednesday in West Suburban Hospital Medical Center in the suburb where she had been taken with stab wounds. Meanwhile, Mayor Sarah Bodie said Oak Park officials intend to offer a $25,000 reward to anyone who comes forward with information. Though Oak Park residents have cooperated with the investigation of Miss...
Chewbacca?
Oh, God.
I'll be Chewbacca if you want me to.
Mag just put the Chewbacca in there. It freaked me out. Not quite like that one time. Oh, boy. I was like, We feel very strongly about this. If money can be found for community development, housing, and other programs, money must be found to help law enforcement. The money would be paid for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the killer. Miss Lombardo was out for a walk when she apparently was dragged into an alley a block south of the Chicago and Northwestern Railroad track. Oh, wait. Between Wesley and Euclid Avenue. There we go. We've got it. Boom. Wesley Avenue. Okay. So that's Wesley. And then Euclid is right here. Well, that's weird. I think I went up that one. Let me check this one. Wasn't this the same? This is the same one we were just looking at, right? Wait, that looks more like brick, though. No, it wasn't the one we were looking at. Ah, ha, ha, ha. I think that might be it. Let's see, let's see, let's see. All we had to do was go one more over. Yep, that's it. There it is. Look at that. God, I love that stuff. See, that's window. Boom, boom. And then that one, that one, that one, that one. And it looks like maybe that's a radio tower there. And look at that, there's something. And there's also a higher building right there you can see. And then probably in the background you could see it. Okay. Awesome. There we go. So now we know where she was found. We can just scroll back. And there should be horizontal. You know, it's hard to tell if somebody's knocked theirs down. Like probably that one is the one in the picture, I would imagine. Okay, yep. This one, I think right now we're looking at that one. I think this, although it doesn't have a window on it, it's hard to, let's see. Let me move back. I think it's this one. There we go. There we go. That's it. Yeah, so you got, now you can just see it in the picture here. Everything's the same. There should be one that's opposite of this down here a little bit. Right there. There you go. There's that one. This one. I see them all. So we got the right everything now. Alright. And so that means, looking at this picture here, her body was found in these bushes. It looks like they cut the bushes away. So that means just short of that driveway, right here, apparently at one point there were a bunch of bushes right there. So this is where she was found, right in this area. I know, Jane. I know. Thanks, though. That's so crazy, because they made it sound See, that's what I hate about the news. You know, they go, hey, she lives right off 300, and it was only a half a block away from where she lived. Well, that's not even close to a half a block. This is within the block. I actually went down to these areas, right around in there, just thinking, but I didn't keep going. It just was taking so long. So now we have that. Wow, that's crazy. So when she was running right here, just moments later, she was killed and sexually assaulted. If she was found at 10:04 and sexually assaulted, I mean, it takes a while to sexually assault somebody. So it's almost like she just right there, she was abducted. All right. So Miss Lombardo was out for a walk when she apparently was dragged into an alley a block south of the Chicago and Northwestern Railroad tracks between Wesley and Euclid Avenue. Neighbors who heard a commotion in the alley just after 10 p.m. called police. Survivors include her parents, Dominic, and Ree, 4 brothers, Dominic, Christopher, Martin, and John, and her grandparents, Raymond and Alice Carr. So now I don't need to look that up. Let's see. Her parent. Let me try this though. Let me just try something. There's a program out there that you can look up. So we know what the parents' names are. I just want to see if there's a reference to where they live. So her parents are... This is what genealogists do, by the way. Exactly what we're doing. They look at the obituaries. Then they get the... okay, so her parents are Dominic and Ree. So once you find this person here, then now you know their parents are Dominic and Ree. And then she also has 4 brothers named Dominic, Christopher, Martin, and John. So you can lay out that entire family tree in 2 seconds, just right there by that obituary, right? I mean, it's just what they do all the time. And then they later on you'll figure out who Martin's kids are and do all the, you know, and go through the whole deal. All right, so Ree Lombardo in Oak Park, Illinois. Alright, so does 74 make sense? This is 1984, that'd be... I don't know, how old... She was only 20... How old was she? Do you guys remember? I can't remember now. Well, she wasn't... What do you mean a jogger? What are you talking about? Who said that she was concealing a knife? Oh yeah, 24, okay. So if she was 24 and her parents were 44, and then, so they, you know, young parents, that'd be strange if she was only 74 years old at this point. What's the husband's name? The dad, I mean, Dominic. Let's just make sure we got the right one. It would say the husband on here. No, I don't see that. But how many Ree Lombardos could there be in that town? Thanks, Zozo. Okay, so he passed away in 2012. I think we might be able to get the answer here in about 2 seconds. Alright, let's just see. I got 2 addresses here in Oak Park. Oh yeah, this is it. Look at that. It's got to be the one. I mean, well, this is where... Well, that's 141 South Bullet, but it's right in this area. Because this is where they say she lived, but it was with their parents. Let me try the other one. Nope, that's the same. Alright. Yeah, it was so close. I'm just trying to find the actual house, but apparently it was in a... Well, maybe it wasn't at home. She said that it was an apartment with a friend, so it's probably one of these. That one or this one right here. So that makes sense. Okay. But her parents just lived... They said it was only a few blocks from where she grew up. So I bet you anything, this is where that was that they were referring to, where she grew up right there. That's where her parents lived. And now we're... You know, she was jogging from her home, and then just a little after she was seen right there, she was murdered by somebody and sexually assaulted, and it's still not solved today. Yeah. All right. Oh, okay, you got the address up there, 306 Washington. Yeah, so it's in that same spot. Let's see which one it is. Yeah, it was right where I had the pin. This one right there. I'll move it just a foot over it there, you know. Yeah, I know it's an apartment building. I just said that a minute ago. Let's see. Okay, so now we're on to the next article. A 29-year-old man described as a transient was charged with murder Wednesday in the weekend death of Bible student Kristen Kent, police said. But she also, her parents live right up the street, and in the articles it said the murder happened near where she grew up. Okay, Larry Scott, often seen visiting the area where the body was found, was arrested Tuesday night, confessed to the murder, and eventually was charged with one count of murder, Police Commander Edward Wadnicki said. Kent's badly beaten body was found Sunday behind a pile of rubble in an alley near the Moody Bible Institute on the, on the near north side. A memorial service for Kent was scheduled for Wednesday night at the First Presbyterian Church in Evanston. Scott has a medium to long police record and is suspected of committing other crimes in the area. Oak Park police detectives said they would look at evidence gathered in Kent's murder to see if it had any connection to the August 1st slaying of Kathleen Lombardo. However, he said he doubted Scott was involved. So that was just another time her name was mentioned in there. Why would you assume he was a jogger based on that? Jesus. He was said to be leering at her. He wasn't a jogger, okay? All right. I mean, to get that leap from there. Yes, people. Hey, everybody. People wear shorts in the summertime, okay? People wear shorts. It didn't say they had on Nike waffle trainers with, really, short shorts and a tank top and was out there. He seemed to be running. Nobody ever said he was running. Okay, don't do the overthinking part. It's just way too much. It sounds like he was a guy that was just out there observing and leering at her. All right. Thanks, Lee D. All right, now this is sort of this longer article that was on it from June 25th, 2020. That's not really big if it's true either. All right. You guys are just absolutely crazy people. You know, it's, man. He put the knife down his leg, you know. Yeah, he was training for a marathon, yeah. Hey, Don, I don't agree with you, okay? I think you're incorrect. The person was just standing around, leering at people, walking around. There was no mention that he was a jogger. I don't know how you assume that it's a jogger with nothing indicating that he's a jogger other than wearing shorts. You know, that's what everybody wore around back then. Tube socks, some kind of, you know, sneakers, shorts, you know. Everybody did, 1984. That's right, he had a plastic prosthetic arm that he put it inside, much like maybe a Professor Gadget would do, or, you know, the guy on Get Smart, you know, you could just rotate the arm, pull it, and then boom, the knife comes out. Yeah, you're right, man. It could be one of those. Yeah, he probably knew her route. He was probably constantly, maybe even have lived sort of in the area somewhere. Yes, everybody, he's a jogger that was out there every single night, and he had a pierced earring. Why do you think he had a pierced ear? Well, because, well, I don't know. Yeah, he had a blue bandana on. That's what they do when they jog. Maybe he was using it to cover his face when he left the area. Why are you so hateful, Gray?
Gray, why are you so hateful? Oh, God.
No, there's no hate in my voice at all. I'm just saying there's no possibility you can say that that guy was a jogger. And how did he... And then you go to the whole leap about how did he hide the knife if he's a jogger? How about ask this question? How did he hide the knife wearing the clothing he had on? Okay, we don't need to assume that he's a jogger. Just say, wow, how did he hide the knife wearing the clothing that he had on? Isn't that a much more reasonable statement? Let's not, like, you add extra stuff in there. It's so ridiculous. See, what it is, what this idiot up above is they're from one of the channels like the Hallucinator. And they come on and they got something to say, you know, trying to disrupt the show, but nobody's interested. You understand what I'm saying? Hey, all right, Richard Watts. Will do, buddy. Will do. Right. So ask yourself this: when he was running, or you know, when not running, when he was standing there wearing the clothes that he was wearing, how did he conceal the knife? Did he just sort of have the knife tucked in his shorts and he was standing there and you just can't notice it? Okay, I'm not going to call him a jogger though. So that added a layer to trying to figure it out that didn't need to exist. All right, so I'm going to go through this story now. Yeah, none of these people that show up, the dislikes that you see right now are people that aren't interested in trying to look at a case rationally. Okay, what they are people that are just, you know, they're just going to troll. The same people from last night that called in. You guys should have heard the call. I think it was hilarious. When he tried to say all the comments he did, he thought he was on the air, and I go, you didn't make it. He goes, yes, I did. He literally was saying back to me, yes, I did. Yes, I did. I did make it to the... I did. I know I did. And I go, no, you didn't, man. You thought you did, but you didn't. Then he's like, and then he just kept saying a word over and over and over again. Right, they didn't say anything about how big or anything. So, he could have just had it in his hand, you know? Who knows? He might have lived somewhere near there in an apartment. And he had the bandana to cover his face. As soon as he, you know, because it's kind of late, you know, so right after that, it's probably dark outside, and he's walking around with the bandana and makes it somewhere, cutting through yards. Nobody's really awake. All right, Kathleen Lombardo studied ballet and tap as a young girl, played the piano, and worked at an Oak Park bookstore as an honor student at Trinity High School in River Forest. She was a sweet person, quiet and very good student, very honest, said Christopher Lombardo, one of her 4 brothers. She was not someone who would ever lie or steal. She had a strong faith. She felt close to God. Kathleen Lombardo was 24 when she was sexually assaulted and fatally stabbed on August 1st, 1984, while out for an evening jog walk near her Oak Park apartment. Christopher Lombardo said her murder devastated their family, especially his mother, who died 5 years later. Lombardo's killing also had a profound impact on the late true crime writer Michelle McNamara. So this is that one, who was a teenager growing up in Oak Park at the time. She wrote in her book, All Be Gone in the Dark, that's that book that she wrote, that unsolved murders became an obsession when 2 days after Lombardo's murder, she visited the alley where Lombardo's body was found and spotted pieces of a Walkman she believed was one Lombardo carried while she walked that night. Wow, that's interesting. And hopefully you guys, when you're watching my show, you sort of have a feel like you're there, you know? Like if here's where she lived, in these apartments, you know. I had a pin right there. I didn't know the exact one, but Dan put it in there. It's these apartments right here, right? So you can see where she lived. Then, you know, you can just kind of picture a girl jogging out that way, maybe. And then somebody sees her jogging right here, right in this area. So she's just jogging, just like this. And then right here, something happens. You know, it could be that she even would take some of these side, these side trips down different alleys, right? I mean, it's very possible, like some, you know, because they're just alleys, nobody's really thinking much of them, but it'd be kind of weird to do that at night, I guess. But the person could have been right here and just got her on the street and said, hey, right here, and had her keep quiet, sexually assaulted her, then killed her right there when he was finished. And there was you could even hear her make sounds, people were making noises, and then he just gets away somewhere. I have a feeling he probably lived in this area at some point. You know, he might have even lived right in this area and noticed her jogging often and then made his move. It doesn't feel like he's going to be somebody that was from far away that just happened to be in there. It seems like he was somebody that knew her routine and then made his move one night, but he lived in that area, but he just did it in a way where, you know, they didn't have genealogy and so forth back then. McNamara's book about her search for the Golden State Killer, a serial rapist and murderer who terrorized California in the 1970s and 80s, has been adapted into a 6-part docu-series scheduled to premiere Sunday at 9 p.m. on HBO. The second episode, airing July 5th, briefly touches on Lombardo's murder. McNamara died unexpectedly in April of 2016, and people close to her finished her book. Yeah, I think that was her husband, who was also an actor, or a comedian, I guess, which was published in February 2018. A chapter is devoted to her Oak Park upbringing, and some investigating said investigating she did on Lombardo murder years after it happened. Okay. It's hard to read it when the words are so close like that. I need like the full sentence in there. In 2013, McNamara met with one of the people who discovered Lombardo's body behind a house in the 100 block of South Wesley Avenue. Yeah. In her book, she explores a theory that a neighbor killed Lombardo. Well, there you go. See, that's what I think, too. I think it's somebody that's in this area. 100. I don't read these, by the way, before, just so you know. The only thing I go through some of these articles for is to get addresses and things. Just kind of scan for numbers and hope I see something. I like to go through it at the same time you guys do. 100 South Wesley Avenue. I just want to see if it's right there. 100 South. Huh. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, no. That police tape is definitely right there. There's no chance that it's over here. Wait, where's 200 block? That's where she was last seen jogging. I see what they're saying. That makes sense. Yeah, so let's just go to the 200. That's going to be right, yeah, right there. That's exactly what I was thinking. So it's 100 block, and it's going to be this house right there, which is on Wesley Street. So if you were to go down here, this is Wesley Street right there, and it would be that house right there at the time, I guess. Doesn't even look like a house. Or maybe it's this. Let me look at this one. Hold on. Yeah, maybe it's that one. See, that's 143 Wesley. And that's not the... Oh, there you go. There's a stairs right there, front door. So maybe, it could be right here or... But I think it's just one of these two homes right there that they're referring to in that article. Elizabeth Wolfe, who directed the second and fifth episodes of the docuseries and serves as producer, said the production team dug into McNamara's research of the Lombardo case with hopes headway could be made. We really went in thinking, how can we pick up the torch and help solve Michelle's white whale? Yeah, that is kind of a bummer that she didn't live long enough. Just 2 more years and she would have seen the solving of the Golden State Killer. East Area Rapist, Iran's. The original Night Stalker. Wolfe said she visited Oak Park in April 2018. She contacted Christopher Lombardo in July 2018. And he said he met with the production team 3 times in Chicago suburbs. A Chicago attorney on behalf of Christopher Lombardo and the production team filed a Freedom of Information Act request in November 2018 to obtain Oak Park police records of the investigation into Lombardo's murder and the results of any DNA testing in the case. An attorney for the village denied the request, writing that the release of the request records would interfere with the department's ability to collect evidence, investigate persons of interest, and secure the cooperation of potential witnesses. What do you mean? You're 35 years later. Let's see. The village attorney said the Illinois State Police Crime Lab accepted several items for DNA analysis from the department in October 2018, and the FBI has expressed an interest in possibly assisting with the investigation. Wolf said the production team also talked with people who said they saw Lombardo jogging the night she was killed and reached out to women who reported similar attacks in the Oak Park area around the same time period. We really tried to do as much research as we could to see if we could advance the case in any way, Wolf said, but without the cooperation of the Oak Park Police Department, her hands were really tied. Joe Moran, the acting Oak Park Police Chief, denied the Tribune request for an interview for the story, but said in an email statement, while more than 3 decades have passed since Miss Kathleen Lombardo died at the hands of yet an unknown assailant, the Oak Park Police Department's determination to find her killer has not wavered. Ronald Sermon, the first Oak Park police detective on the scene that warm Wednesday night in 1984, said he looked into at least 100 tips at the time. The Tribune reported witnesses said they saw a man follow Lombardo just before she was killed. The suspect is described in the police report as a 6-foot-tall black man with short curly 25 to 30 years short curly hair, 25 to 30 years old, wearing a yellow tank top, dark shorts, knee-high socks, and a blue bandana around his head. There are a few theories about who killed Lombardo, who briefly studied at what is now known as Quincy University in Western Illinois. And she worked as a sales clerk in the fabric department. George Seibel, a former Chicago police homicide detective who founded and ran the Institute for Cold Case Solution at Morton College until he retired in 2017, believes the person who killed Lombardo also sexually assaulted and fatally stabbed Rita Hopkinson, a 22-year-old medical student at the CTA Austin Blue Line station in 1978. Well, thanks Zozo, for helping out. It's been a slow one. No waves, no I don't know what you call it. No coffee time, no jail. What is that, a cat or that's a fox, right? Okay. Seibel proposed the same person is behind a series of reported sexual assaults. So there's a whole bunch of assaults they think he might be related to. Could have been the same guy that many years later that had done the other crime, Seibel said. In her book, McNamara recounts the night of Lombardo's murder from the perspective of one of the people who came across her body. Let's see. Thanks, Gene Fish. And Zozo. Let's see, so it was a teenager who came across the body. And she was hanging out with a group of boys at the time, recalled a neighbor emerging from the alley as they made the discovery. The neighbor said he didn't have a phone to call the police, avoided looking at Lombardo's body in a strange way. Thank you, Carolina T. Was Meredith McKenzie, wasn't it her kid that was in Alaska? Oh, everything's okay. I think it was Meredith, wasn't it? Oh, man. Gene Fish, Carolina T, David Arnold. Thank you. What the hell is this? You got me, man. You got me.
Wave.
Yeah, well, hope everything's okay there. She just kind of disappeared.
Chewbacca? I'll be Chewbacca if you want me to.
I wish I had sound effects for that dancing pair. You know, it gets a little... So this is the interesting part, the person who found the body. Alright. Let me go to the last sentence here. So it says, in her book, McNamara recounts the night of Lombardo's murder from the perspective of one of the people who came across her body. The man who was a teenager hanging out with a... That's kind of a weird sentence. With a group of boys at the time, recalled a neighbor emerging from the alley as they made the discovery. The neighbor said he didn't have a phone to call the police, avoiding looking at Lombardo's body in a strange way, and appeared freshly showered. Huh, let me think of that. Neighbor said he didn't have a phone to call the police, avoided looking at Lombardo's body in a strange way, and appeared freshly showered after police cars arrived. Oh, that's interesting. Like he just quickly took a shower and he's the one that came out. Thank you, Noreen Gardner and Susie Heath. That's interesting. Yeah, so they think it was like a neighbor in a strange way and appeared... He didn't want to. He avoided looking at it in a strange way. And he appeared to be freshly showered after police cars arrived. According to the book, McNamara doesn't name the neighbor. Sermon, who left the Oak Park Police Department in 1988 and now lives in Missouri, told the Tribune this was the first he'd heard of the neighbor. He took issue with a few points in McNamara's book, including her claim she discovered pieces of Lombardo's Walkman. We cut down bushes. And look at that. Boom. What that guy's saying right there is 100%. There's the bushes. So he's disputing some of it. We cut down bushes, weeds, everything around the area, seeing if we could find anything because we thought maybe the broken part of the knife was still there or something. For me, to walk away the next day leaving the Walkman pieces laying there is ridiculous, said Sermon, who also challenged McNamara's assertion that police debunk a rumor, I remember, that witnesses had seen the killer exit the L train and began following Kathleen. He said he's 100% sure the killer is from Chicago, not somebody in the neighborhood going out right outside their house. Okay, so he doesn't think what I was thinking in that neighborhood. I don't know how you can be 100% certain of any of that. Christopher Lombardo, who was about 17 months younger than Kathleen. Hey, thanks, Trudy.
Chewbacca?
Richard.
I'll be Chewbacca if you want me to.
Thank you for your dedication to finding some resolution and justice for victims and their families.
Yeah, I try to do shows where at least I get the story out for these long lost cases that nobody really seems to care about because they're not the big ones, you know? It's not Morphew or Chris Watts or Delphi. I mean, Delphi just happens to be one of the big ones that, hey, what's that one?
Thank you for your time and dedication towards justice for those who no longer have a voice.
Oh, look at that. It's cool. Look at that. Awesome. Hey, if you do Streamlabs, I don't know who that was because it was only on the screen for a second, but that was pretty cool. It said "We Are Freaks." I've never seen that one in all the time I've been doing the show. That was awesome, wasn't it? Yeah, no Chris Watts, Mary Poppins. No Chris Watts. I do too. I like so, I mean, I gotta tell you, some of the cases that we've covered on here are just so amazingly interesting, yet nobody talks about it. You know? The two that I've done on Nefarious are both very interesting cases that have never been covered by anybody else on any YouTube video. You know? And I don't know why or what the deal is there, but maybe it's just luck to find those. Or... Yeah, that still doesn't make any... You know, he can't say he's 100% certain of any of that. That's 1984, you know. It's not like it's 1952 or something. There's just no way he can make a statement like that. He said He's 100% sure the killer is from Chicago, not somebody in the neighborhood. Yeah. Let's see. That's just ludicrous. How do you know what city he lives in? How do you know he's not from Indiana and drove over there? I mean, it's just, I hate crap like that. If you know 100% sure that he's from Chicago, then you should know who the person is at that point. And you should have already made an arrest by comparing DNA samples. I'm sure they did a rape kit in 1984, right? There have been any number of possibilities, said Dominic Lombardo, the oldest Lombardo brother, who said he last saw his sister when he stopped by Marshall Fields just weeks before her murder. My mom was not happy with the investigation at the time. Christopher Lombardo said he gave the docuseries team a collection of materials about his sister's death, including newspaper clippings saved by his late father, also named Dominic, who worked as a history teacher and counselor at Chicago Lane Tech College Prep for many years. Much of his information didn't make the cut for the TV and HBO representatives, said a companion podcast will expand on stories and themes from the series, but the details are still being worked out. I didn't initiate the project, Christopher Lombardo said. I understood that they were trying to do all along was to produce a high-quality screen adaptation of Michelle McNamara's book. My only hope from this is that in there, somewhere, is included a request that if anyone has information about my sister's murder, they contact the Cook County State Attorney's Office or Oak Park Police. Yeah, and this is just about the HBO series, pretty much the same thing. So I guess if you have any information, you can call the Cook County State's Attorney's Office at 773-674-2700 or 312-603-1880 and the Oak Park Police Department at 708-434-1636. And that link right there is in the description if you want to check it out in a little bit. I don't know. I can't think of a rational way that, without knowing who the killer is, that you can say you're 100% sure that that they don't live sort of in the area somewhere. You know, maybe they checked every single house of every single person within a 2-mile radius or something. I guess that's possible. And it just seems like a kind of a, it's actually a irresponsible statement, because then people, oh, okay, so it can't be anybody here. Let's only look somewhere else. It's very, it's possible the person lives in Chicago. Probably, maybe it's even highly possible. But I don't know. You just need to say it's unlikely, not 100% they didn't. Because the only way you'd actually know that answer is if you knew who the killer was. And you were 100% sure who the killer was. All right. Anyways, that is all I had on that story. So now we're going to be moving on to the next one. This one doesn't have a ton of information on it. Her name is Georgia, and I don't know how to pronounce the name. If I put this in here, can you phonetically tell me how to say this? Maybe it's like Hagai or something. I don't know. There's a lot of black people that live in the Chicago area. I don't think. Well, that's not what he said either. He said he's 100% certain the person lives in Chicago. So we can't really guess what he meant or something like that. It's anyways, how do you pronounce that right there? Haggai. Yeah. See, for example, I think the person lived somewhere around in there. Like right in there. You know? There are thousands. Look at how many homes there are here. There are thousands and thousands of people. Probably lots and a lot of black people that met the description there. They just didn't have any way to link it to anybody. There was no fingerprints. They didn't have DNA at the time. Hopefully they have it now and they can try to figure out who this person is. Haggai? Okay, how come all of you are typing something different in? Somebody said ahi. Somebody said hag. I'm not going to even try to say that one. Yeah, I mean, I think he sort of lived. I don't think he drove. You know, but I guess there is a train there. Maybe he just took the train, got off the train, did his assault, got back on the train. Okay, Hagai. All right. Okay, I'm going to go with Hagai. All right. Or hey, guy. All right, so this story is Georgia Hagai. I'm not doing it. I'm just going to pronounce it how I want to say it. Every single one of you type something different in, and at that point, forget it. Okay. So here we go. We've got. I found her in another article before. Listen. As president of a temporary help firm specializing in accounting personnel, it is important for me to maintain excellent physical appearance. I've lost 30 pounds while continuing the breakfast, lunch, and dinner commitment required as a business professional. And this one is in California. It's like in the San Diego area. Escondido, I guess. I think it was for the San Diego County, though. I can't remember exactly where they were sent. Let me look at that on a map. I'm not from California, so. Well, actually, I was born in California. Yeah, it's San Diego area there. Maybe it's Fragile. What do you think, Dan? Think it's more pronounced like Fragile? Listen, do you guys ever watch Christmas Story? I watch it every single year, right? I think Christmas Story is funny every single time that you watch it. It never gets old. I wish they had a channel that was called A Christmas Story. That all it did was play that 24/7 every single day of the year. And you can just flip it on there every once in a while and get some laughs. You know, the funniest stuff is the interaction between the two, the husband and wife, you know. The whole thing with the lamp, you know, just not, you know, the turkey, at the end, the singing at the restaurant, chopping the head off the duck. Man, I don't think there's anything that really isn't funny in there. I just love that movie. I try to watch it 2 or 3 times. That's right. You'll shoot your Hagai out. There you go. He worked it in. He worked in Hagai. You see that? Hey, Dan, what do you do for work, by the way? You seem like you're pretty good with words, you know. Obviously. I mean, you made Colleen almost die, actually. She couldn't breathe. She told me that. And then you won the poem contest. Right. Yeah, every single person said it different. Well, she just said she couldn't breathe for a while. She wanted to. It was pretty fun. You know, that's good though when you laugh like that. I had tears. My eyes weren't dry. They were dry up until then, and then I was laughing, and then I had tears well up. Yeah, well, the tongue frozen in the pole to me wasn't as, you know, that wasn't one of my funniest parts that I thought. But I thought it was funny when the mom was on the phone saying to somebody else that he learned to say the F word from that kid, but the kid never even, that isn't how, you know, it's not even true. And then the kid just gets spanked all up in the background. Oh, yeah? What kind of, when you say like genealogy documents on Facebook, where are those located? Like, what are you looking at? Well, she was kidding. She just said, "Man, I couldn't breathe." I think most people would feel bad about that. What type of art do you do, Dan? I know you mentioned that the other night, but I guess I just asked 4 questions in a row. We're talking about Christmas Story, Trudy. It's so classic, you know. I've won a major award, and it's just the worst award ever, right? Oh yeah, where is that? I'd like to check that out, Dan. I want to see what you guys are looking at. Can you like send me a link or something? That sounds kind of interesting. Sounds right up my alley. Oh yeah? What kind of like oil paint? Do you have a certain style you do? Do you try to I don't know really what to say. Like, do you try to make something look exactly like something like my dad does it, or just sort of your own style? I don't really know how to refer to it. Yeah, you should send me a link, though. I want to check that out. That'd be fun. Oh, yeah? Those are just Facebook groups called that? Genealogy, translations, deciphering. Huh. I'm gonna write that down. I'll tell you what was hard to learn how to spell is genealogy. You know, it doesn't make sense to me, but I looked at it and went, wow, okay, so you just say gene and then allergy. Yeah, okay. Cool, I'll check it out. All right, so now we're on to, we were on to the Georgia Hagai. And this is what I found is like an ad that she put in the paper. And she's the president of a temporary help firm. I think she even owned it, actually, in accounting personnel. And she's also really into like woman empowerment stuff. That was 1985, May 13th. Then businesswoman found shot to death on 1986, April. It was actually March 31st, but this is the day of the article. So police are investigating the shooting death of a San Diego businesswoman whose pajama-clad body was found in the entrance of her Scripps Ranch home early Monday morning. And I don't, in this case, I didn't have the exact address again, but it's on this cul-de-sac right here. So if you want to do whatever you just did a minute ago and get that one, that'd be cool. But it's Georgia Hagai, Haggai, right here. I'll put it in there, the whole name in there. So if you can tell me the exact address. They didn't put it again in the paper. Right there. But it's apparently would be on Decandra Court. So I have 900 Decandra Court. Alright, so it's going to be 9 something something Decandra Court, right? And it even has Street View on here. Let's see. On the second floor of her 3-bedroom home in the 9900 block of Decandra Court. So it says right here, Georgia Hagai, 42, was found lying on the floor of her 3-bedroom home in the 9900 block of Decandra Court by police officers called to the area to investigate the sound of gunshots at about 5 a.m., police spokesman Bill Robinson said. When police arrived, they found the front door was open and the screen door unlocked, said Sergeant Bob Manis of the Department Homicide Division. So to me, you know, right there, you just think she just opened the door for somebody at 5 in the morning. They could see the body of a woman lying on the floor with a large German Shepherd standing guard, and they didn't want to disturb the scene, so they forced open both the garage door and the door leading from the garage into the kitchen to enter the house. Manis said Hagai received 2 gunshot wounds to the head and chest. So I wonder if that means 1 to the head, 1 to the chest. That's sort of like a classic execution like a hitman would do. Almost no chance to survive that. But the way it's worded, it could have been 2 to the head, 2 to the chest. Received 2 gunshot wounds in the head and chest. One person told police he had heard loud voices coming from the house before the shooting, he said. Police were also told that witnesses had seen someone fleeing the scene, but Manis would not say whether it was a man or a woman. There was no apparent motive, no missing property, no robbery or burglary. As far as we can tell, Manis said, no suspects have been arrested, but police are pursuing several possibilities. No weapon was recovered. Hagai was owner and president of Kearney Mesa-based George's Incorporated, a temporary personnel service for accountants and bookkeepers. At the time of her death, she had also been serving as treasurer of a San Diego chapter. I actually think there might be something related to this. San Diego chapter of Soroptimist International, an organization for executive and professional women worldwide, said Florine Mardell, district director of the organization's Desert Coast region. She had been in line to become the vice president of the club later on in the year. In 1981, Hagai was honored with 3 other Soroptimists by the Central City Association and Soroptimist Club as one of their Women of Accomplishment. Hagai also an active member of other organizations such as the San Diego Business and Professional Women's Association. She was a beautiful, lovely person, thoughtful and considerate, always doing things for other people, said Mardell. The autopsy will be conducted sometime this morning, the San Diego County Coroner's Office said. So this is 1986. I was sort of wondering, because I looked up the Soroptimist, because I had never heard of that in my life. International of the Americas is an organization for women that encourages women's empowerment through education. The single most, let's see. They have the mission statement in here. The National Partnership and Global Network of Members inspires action and creates opportunities to transform the lives of women and girls by advocating for equality and equality, creating safe and healthy environments. It's probably evolved over the time, you know, because now I'm sure they evolved into the PC meaning. Hey, thanks, Dan. Conjure Accord, so it's 9. Yeah. And there it would be, right there. I was kind of wondering if it, you know, my thoughts that I have, that somebody went there to kill her. Okay? Could it, you know, I hate the could it be this and the could it, but to me, you know, her work, maybe not her job where she's hiring people, but the organization, because if she could also have been somebody that was helping women that felt like they were trapped at home with some wacky, you know, the controlling abuser types. And these are women that wanted to do something with themselves, and she encouraged them to break out and lead, you know, be their own woman. And maybe one of them left. I mean, I think if they look, that might be an angle that they could look up at. Like, one of them left their man, and now they blame her for ruining their life, so they go over and take her out. And there's really no way to really track that down, but you sort of wonder if, I mean, there is a way. You could see who was in the chapters at the time. Was there anybody that she really worked closely with to try to mentor to come out of the situation that she was in? And then this person got really angry because he blames Georgia for having his wife become confident and then leave him. Because, I mean, other than that, I mean, does she have an ex-husband or something? I mean, it just seems so random. It's obviously an execution. And it might be somebody that she even knew because she opened the door, but not necessarily. A lot of people just open their door when the doorbell rings. Have you ever noticed that? The doorbell rings and they open it up. Hey, how can I help you? You know, it's just, it's crazy. Even in today, they do that. I don't know if she was divorced or not. That's not in the article that I was looking at. I don't know if she even has any kids either. Yeah, even at 5:30, people just open their door. It's crazy. But, you know, especially maybe back in 1984 and or 86 in San Diego, you know, it's just, that area probably felt pretty safe. I mean, look at the neighborhood, for God's sakes. If you lived here, don't you think you just might open up the door if somebody knocked on it? It just seems like a high-end neighborhood. Probably every one of these houses now is in the millions. And people, somebody knocks on a door, you just might open it. But it also could mean that she knew the person, right? So this is another article on that same day. Slain woman's house a fortress. So maybe not. Friends and neighbors of a San Diego businesswoman shot to death in the front door of her home remembered her as being an extremely cautious person. So what I just said, forget it, okay? Extremely cautious person whose house was a fortress. But you know how I don't need to sit here and say, they're lying! They're lying! Hey, look at the second I get the something that contradicts what I'm saying, I move right on, and it's part of the story now. You know, I don't care if everybody likes to be right about something. I don't know if she would just open the door for anybody. I said it could also be because she knew the person, and so now it's sort of seeming like it's extremely unlikely that she just opened the door based on this next thing that we're reading, okay? But see, there's people out there that right now would go, no way. That's a lie. I bet you anything she just opened it up. There's no way. Because I said it earlier. That's why it has to be true now. Yeah. Yeah. So police found the body of Georgia... Oh, wait. Let me finish this sentence here. It said, friends and neighbors of a San Diego businesswoman shot to death in the front door of her home remembered her as being an extremely cautious person whose house was a fortress. Police found the body of Georgia Hagai, 42, on the floor just inside the front door of her Scripps Ranch home on Monday. She had been shot in the head and chest, according to Deputy Coroner Penn Hammerstead. Let's see. The shots apparently were fired through the locked door to the front of the house. Wow, that's crazy. Here, hold on a second. I gotta go. But I guess that opens the door to the possibility, pardon the pun, that she was walking towards the door and was shot through it. So let's see. The shots apparently were fired through the locked screen door. Okay, so the main door open. Screen door to the front of the house. The shots apparently were fired through the locked screen door to the front of the house. Neighbors called, well, how did the front door get open that's weird. So did she not lock her front door and only lock the screen? Well, no, the screen door is outside of the door to the house, right? So that means she opened up the locked sort of, main door, but left the screen door locked, and the person just fired at him before she even opened that one. That's crazy, man. That's so that could be that she didn't know the person because she felt safe that the outer screen door was locked, right? And then she probably felt like she could just shut it quick enough if she needed to. All right, so, okay, the shots apparently were fired through the locked screen door to the front of the house. You guys can just we'll just keep looking at you can look at the, right there. Neighbors called police after they heard screams and gunfire coming from the house at 5 a.m. Police spokesman Bill Robinson said witnesses also told police they saw a man running from the house shortly after the shots were fired and heard screeching tires of a car pulling away. No motive had been established in the shooting and no arrests were made as of Monday night. Hagai was a longtime resident of San Diego who had lived in the fashionable Scripps Ranch neighborhood at least 7 years. Neighbors said she kept lights on in the front and back of the house as a precaution. See, it's interesting that people noticed that she made her house as a fortress and that she left her lights on and in the front. So what was she scared of? It's almost like she was aware that there was something out there, maybe after her somehow, right? Either that or, and it could have been, again, through that organization she worked for, that she was getting threats from people or an individual. Thank you, Jessica Schubach. There you go. Fist pump. Yeah, so it's interesting that she... Yeah, exactly, Stephen. It's just unbelievable, especially as security... Let's see. Neighbors said she kept lights on in the front and back of the house as a precaution. It's just unbelievable, especially as security conscious as Georgia was, said Mary Lou. Hey, Mary Lou, what's going on? Washatka, a longtime friend. That house was a fortress. Another neighbor, Jack Rohrbaugh, said Hagai was very social. She had us over 2 or 3 times. Yeah, you could tell she's very social. She's part of that group, but she must have been nervous about something that she herself was aware of. She had us over 2 or 3 times. She was just a lovely neighbor, a fine gal with a good sense of humor. Hagai was owner and president of Georgia's Georgia's Inc., a temporary personnel service for bookkeepers and accountants. She also was active in civic affairs and was serving as treasurer of Seroptimist International of San Diego. See, I think there's something to do with that. The temporary service is just too... There's nothing about a temp service like that in terms of what you're doing that would make you go, ooh, wow. I mean, you're actually giving people work, right? Now, maybe she fired somebody, we don't know, something weird, crazy like that. But the other organization, I could see that really pissing off a husband that lost control of his, the controlling guy lost control of his wife because of her advice and things that she was helping her with. I mean, it's just a absolute speculation there, but it is based on the fact that she worked for that organization, and I think back then it was more like about women empowerment, where today maybe it's evolved into something else. Yeah, I think they should look into that angle for sure. I think they definitely need to look at who was part of that organization and all of its chapters back then. Was there anybody out there, any of the women that she mentored, were any of them involved in a relationship that went south after, that you got out of the relationship after being mentored by Georgia? I don't know, Stephen. Yeah, maybe, All right, here we go. Let me do this one. Police are investigating the shooting death of a San Diego businesswoman whose pajama clad. These are all from this is from the 3rd, though. I mean, yeah, it could be, Stephen. I mean, who knows, I'm just trying to... Mine seems like it encompasses more people than if you just sort of... She was a treasurer. Oh, somebody's missing money. She's the treasurer, though. And I don't know why she'd need to steal any money, because she owned a business that was very successful. Police are investigating the shooting death of a San Diego businesswoman whose pajama-clad body was found in the entrance of her Scripps Ranch home early Monday morning. Georgia Hagai, 42, was found lying on the floor of her 3-bedroom home in the 9900 block of the Condra Court by police officers. When police arrived, they found the front door open and the screen door, now they're saying the screen door unlocked. What did that last one? Didn't that say locked? Through the locked screen door. Don't you hate that crap? You know? Because now it's like she was shot. She'd already unlocked it, and even before she opened it, she was shot. And also, I mean, I don't know how often people lock their screen door and their main door, but they switched what they just said. So now we don't know which one to go with. Nothing better than that. Nothing better. They could see the body of a woman lying on the floor with a large German Shepherd standing guard, and they didn't want to disturb the scene. She received 2 gunshot wounds to the head and chest. It sounds like this is very similar to that first article. Almost identical. Oh, it is. This is the same one. It's just published 2 days later. So, and this is the article on a website here. I think it was the San Diego, between 80 and 90 unsolved cases. So this is their synopsis. Let's see if it corrects anything. Georgia Hagai was shot to death when she answered her front door just before dawn on March 31st, 1986. Neighbors phoned police after they were awakened by gunshots at 5 a.m. Officers arrived to find Hagai lying in the entryway, clad in a robe and dead from multiple gunshot wounds to the head and upper body. Hagai's front door was standing open, and the screen door was shut but unlocked. Okay, so now I think that's probably accurate, since this was from an official site. So it was shut but unlocked, and apparently the shot came through. Let's see. She may have never locked the outer door, because if you're already going to lock the inner door that probably has bolts all over it, there's really no point, right? So she probably opened up the front door after seeing who it was, and then boom, boom. But here's the thing. If it was one of the people that she was scared of, why would she open the door? So this is somebody that it's possible she didn't really know, and the person pretended to be somebody. I don't know. To me, it's bizarre. Like, she has this fortress. She's scared of somebody. Why would you just unlock a door and open it to somebody that you're not? If you're scared of the person, you wouldn't open the door, right? You'd call the police. So it's somebody that she didn't feel she was scared of. And for me, that could mean it was somebody she didn't know, and she opened up the door based on some reasoning. We don't know. And then the person fired at her through the supposedly unlocked... Oh, look, it says right here 99. I didn't see that. I don't even know if that's... But it's 9921. I think all of them are 99 something in that cul-de-sac. I don't know. I don't think so. You think it's from somebody at the Yeah, there's all kinds of maybes like that. We're all doing the speculation. I don't know. It just doesn't seem... She seems like she was scared of something else. That's why her house was a fortress, even though she's a really gregarious person. And her house was a fortress with lights on, all kinds of... I don't know what they mean by fortress, really. But she seems like she was nervous about something. I doubt it was because she was aware that something about the funds where she was that organization she worked at. Yeah, I mean, it could be anything, though. I mean, that's what Stephen was saying up above, is, yeah, maybe it was the, she got busted for something, or not busted, she busted somebody for, money missing. But the thing is, she was the treasurer, right? So she's the one in control of the money. So why would somebody kill her? See, I could see it being the other way around. Well, I guess what you're saying, yeah, like, let's say somebody knew that she did that. Then the person who stole it would want to kill the person who knew about it. But if she's the treasurer, she's the one that controls the money, right? So it seems like it's the reverse. Well, I think, Susie, if that was the case, they would have had an arrest made already. Because they can definitely track phone numbers, right? Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense, what you just said. I just explained it to you. She's the treasurer. She wouldn't allow money to be missing. So, and let's say she did. She allowed money to be missing. She's the one that was stealing it. Why would somebody go kill her? You would just report it to the police. Well, she's not Middle Eastern, though, Gene, so... Yeah. I mean, she has a name, but we don't know if that came from her dad, or maybe not her dad, but like maybe she was married before, or wherever it came from, right? She doesn't look Middle Eastern to me. She just looks like she has a name that's like that. Yeah, there's a lot of. I just throw out my theory, you guys. You guys can do your thing about because she was a treasurer, therefore there was some big money laundering, crazy crap going on, and then therefore somebody needed to take her out. I'm just saying, we know that she worked for a woman empowerment organization, and there's a lot of guys out there, we go over these cases all the time, where they're controlling women, and she would encourage, her teachings would make somebody want to get out of a situation like that. And maybe that person blamed her. That's my theory based on that. We don't have any information about, because you can already imply that that's what you would be teaching people. The part where she's working as a treasurer, all you can say is she was a treasurer. There's no implied anything about money being stolen or anything like that. And the thing is she felt, she felt threatened. That's why she had her lights on in the front and back in a really safe neighborhood. She knew something was not right somewhere. Oh, the whole honor thing? Yeah. Oh, they're Syrian? Yeah, well, Syrians, what's weird about... There's some... a lot of people from Syria look almost Western. It's bizarre. Have you ever seen that? Blue eyes. I mean, it's really strange. Like, you wouldn't think that, but... What's ancestry site do you use? I have... what's the one I use? What's the big one with, I think I have, God, my brain just can't quickly come up with stuff tonight. It's crazy. Well, that'd be kind of an interesting twist if it had something to do with the Syrian angle of it. Because at that point, you know, maybe there were some people in her organization that she was helping that were from the same... wow, that'd be crazy, right? So she's helping other Syrians or Middle Easterns who have their... In general, women are subservient, and they are to do what the guy tells them to do. And so if you ever... Man, and they're totally into, you know, man, I don't mean to go down that route, but it could definitely be that. That'd be pretty crazy. What are you guys saying in there? Personal, someone infatuated. I don't think it's infatuated with her. I don't see that at all, Noreen. Yeah. Sounds like somebody who hated her. Just a quick kill, get the hell out. Yeah. And it was probably, it could have even served as a warning to certain individuals who were being mentored by her, and then they fell back in line after she was killed. Kept her from being a mentor, and then it also stopped her from, you know, the people that were being mentored, because now they knew, oh my God. That doesn't make any, your sentence didn't make any sense, A. Yeah, doesn't make any sense. You have to rewrite that one. I don't need somebody else to interpret it. Just write it the right way. I'm wondering if empowering is similar to women's... Yeah. Well, you know, but that's the same thing. You're empowering women. You know, Cheryl Coker's... or Melissa Pesky's husband wouldn't want her to be empowered. She was being empowered when she was driving her kids across country to be safe. Right? I don't know, Kate. Yeah. See, I don't do those kind of maybes. Those are just absolutely no way to even know anything about that. You know, I'm not even one of the people that like the, is it possible that... You know, it just gets so... It turns into a war of everybody coming up with, is it possible that? What I'm trying to do is just think of what her little universe is and come up with reasonable... I think the thought about the... something to do with finances is definitely possible. You know... sometimes involved in the killing, honor killing. Right. Where honor killings are usually the Sunni and the sort of really hardcore, and it's not really a religious thing. I guess it's a cultural deal. And even in the really hardcore Wahhabi sort of honor killings, you've got the... here's how it works. Like if a woman cheats on her husband with a guy, and they're both caught, what they do is they bury the woman covered in a sheet up to her head in the dirt. And the male, he's buried in the ground where his waist is out all the way up to his head. And then people pick stones that aren't too big to kill with one throw, but you know, just small enough to not kill them immediately, but not too little not to do any damage. I mean, they have these specific size of stones, and then you start hucking them at these people, and if you can squirm out of your hole, you're set free. Well, as I just explained, the male has a much better chance because he's already kind of halfway out, where the girl's buried up to her head and almost has no chance. Yeah, it's crazy crap, right? But it's all about honor. How if you dishonor your family, the only way out of it is to kill somebody. See, I don't think it's hard to know. I don't think in this case it would be that. It would just be that somebody's trying to, I don't know. You know what? I actually think we went too far down a route into that. That's so far into a speculative realm at this point. Probably what Mag was saying up there. I don't know, but yeah, no, I think they should definitely be. Well, it's my. What do you mean? Whose theory are you talking about? I think that they should interview all of the women that were part of that resource center at that time. And hopefully they have, but maybe, that's not maybe necessarily an angle that you would have thought about back then. Right, and they took her out because I don't think it was just purely some random guy. I think it was somebody that was affected by, I think that'd be ridiculous for somebody to be that crazed to shoot somebody because it was a woman helping other women. I think it's because her being the woman helping other women affected his life. Then the anger and hate came out, and then he killed her. I'm just saying this is a possibility. All right. So anyways, you guys, that's it for this one. Neighbors saw a single suspect running away from Haggai's residence immediately after the gunfire. The suspect disappeared down the street, and another neighbor then heard. I'm sure she wasn't popular in her circles if she was doing this, but it would only be somebody that had that kind of hate when it affected his control in his household. Then he would hate her and take her out to keep her from being a mentor further to that same individual. All right, so that's just sort of a theory, that I came up with earlier when I was just looking at it. When I saw where she worked, that popped into my head. So there you go. Yeah, it does, William. It does say that. Detectives believe that Hagai must have known her assailant because she was very security conscious. Hagai was a prominent and successful San Diego businesswoman. She was the owner and president of George's Incorporated, a temporary personnel service for bookkeepers and accountants. She was also a physical fitness enthusiast and was actively involved in her community, particularly as a member of the Seroptimists. What does sorrow mean? Because it's weird. It's in sorority too. I wonder if it's like female. I don't know. Do not know what sorrow. I don't know what the morpheme sorrow means. Or sore, S-O-R. Because I think it might be. I think it must be sore because opt is its own. And then I is by itself, and then. Man, I can't remember all my linguistics. I took it twice because it was so interesting, but it must be SOR by itself. Or maybe it's soror. I don't know. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's soror. It means sister, cousin, daughter, daughter of fathers. So it's soror, not sore. Yeah, so it's all right, there we go. So then Soroptimist, they must have a way like you remove the consonant to combine it, because you wouldn't go like you're replacing. I can't remember what it was. There was all these different rules. It was so cool. You could actually learn how to spell by taking linguistics. Crazy words that you wouldn't be able to. Yep. Yeah, I looked it up. I was looking up soror. I figured that was going to be the morpheme, and that was it. It's from Greek. All right. Well, anyways, that's the theory that I have. You know, maybe I'll call over there and say, hey, have you guys thought of this? Throw out the idea and see if it leads to anything. But, you know, hopefully they thought of that, but I can see them not. It's not generally just something that would just pop into your head right there. You know, you'd think she would have had a journal or something. And you got that little wooded area right there, too. Apparently, they could hear him running and then a car squeal away. Probably parked right out there to get a quick getaway so you wouldn't have to, like, turn around tightly. Just shoot, sprint, jump in the car, boom, out of here. Yeah, here's one for you. See the word, you know the word spy, right? That's actually from spec, as in spectacles, or, you know, other words like specify, whatever. And a Y, and then there's a vowel C deletion when you follow it with the morpheme Y. It's actually a suffix. So that's just spy. S-P-E-C-Y minus the vowel C, and you've got spy, right? Something, you know, just something interesting for you guys. You know, I even have a later show so that you guys in Australia can be watching it, and you're just still never here. It's crazy. I can't find that book. It was so cool. It was called Structure of English Words or something like that. Unbelievable. You just have to memorize these different rules and the different morphemes, and you can spell. All right. Now we're going on to the next one. 1990, Patrice Corley. All right, here we go. This one's pretty interesting. Not that they're not all interesting. The body of an unidentified woman was found this morning behind the Pilot Oil truck stop on Ohio 37, just north of Interstate 70 and the Fairfield County line. I actually have the exact spot here. I don't know where exactly her body was in the parking lot, but I did find that spot. So here's I-70 just north, and it's actually still a Pilot Travel Center, it's called. and she was found in that area. Yeah, look how absolutely just nothing around. It's crazy. So the body of an unidentified woman was found this morning behind the Pilot oil truck stop on Ohio 37, just north of Interstate 70 at the Fairfield County line, according to a story in today's Newark Advocate. Licking County Sheriff's detectives were called to Pilot Oil about 6:55 a.m. today after workers at the truck stop found the semi-nude body of a 25 to 30-year-old woman. And this is in Lancaster, Ohio. Found the semi-nude body of a 25 to 30-year-old woman in a grassy area just behind a truck's parking lot. So behind the truck parking lot. Probably like over here somewhere, I would imagine. I think she was probably found over here somewhere. I mean, I guess that could be it too, but probably just right around off to the edge. According to Captain Ray Back, commander of the Sheriff's Detective Division, the woman is 5'3" with red shoulder-length hair. She has brown eyes and weighed about 120 to 130 pounds. There are no identifying marks, such as scars or tattoos on the body, and there was nothing left at the scene to indicate who she is. The woman's body, clad only in a pair of white underwear, was found lying on its side in the grass. Licking County Coroner Robert Baker said he believes the woman had been dead at least 12, but not more than 24 hours. And it's in April. How could nobody see her? Jeez. When she was found, Back noted that a cleanup crew had been in the area about 8 p.m. Wednesday, and the body was not there at the time. Officials are labeling the death as suspicious, pending... Well, I guess if it was left there at night, it could have been there 12 hours. Yeah, so it was found at 6:55. You know, if you dump the body there at 10 or 11 at night, nobody's going to see her, and then she's found in the morning. Officials are labeling the death as suspicious, pending the outcome of an autopsy at the Franklin County morgue either today or Friday, the newspaper said. Oh yeah, what was the answer to the Ancestry website? Up there. I use What's the biggest one? Ancestry.com, I think. I think that's the one I have. And then I also have my data on GEDmatch. Officials are labeling the death as suspicious. Back is asking anyone who could have information about the woman to contact Licking County Sheriff's Office. Alright. And then the next one is about 10 days later. Mystery woman's death caused by blow to the skull. Licking County Coroner Robert Baker has officially ruled that a woman whose semi-nude body was found April 19th at a truck stop was the victim of a homicide. A statement issued by prosecutor Robert L. Becker's office said the woman died as a result of a hemorrhage hemorrhage due to blunt trauma to the head and neck. Becker said the woman was killed by a blow at the base of the skull on one side. Officials had been waiting for toxicology reports before establishing a positive cause of death, and those tests revealed the presence of low levels of alcohol, nicotine, and caffeine. No other toxic agents were found. Yeah. So she smoked, had some cigarettes, drank a little bit. The autopsy also showed the presence of semen, showing that the woman had engaged in sexual activity, but no signs of rape were present. There were no other significant signs. You know what this might sound like is possibly a sex worker who performed the sex act, and then the guy didn't want to pay her, and he killed her and then took off, because he's a serial killer trucker. Doesn't care, right? Maybe something like that, but it's interesting. And here's one of the things that's tough too is you've got these women that are sex workers and they have semen in them, but how do you know that the semen is from the killer, right? I mean, how do you know that? Because they could have been with one guy and another guy and another guy that night, and it could have been, I guess they would have all, if they tested, they might get 1, 2, 3 different samples. I don't know if she was a sex worker, though, but every time you hear a truck stop, and we've talked about it many times, that serial killers and whatnot seem to love those truck stops and the sex workers that go there. So she was engaged in sexual activities, but no signs of rape were present. There were no other significant signs of violence. The woman, who still remains unidentified, was found by workers at the Pilot Oil truck stop on Ohio 37, April 19th, at about 6:55 a.m. Thanks, Zozo! Yeah, we're not doing Delphi, so it's the wave. It's a really small wave.
Ye are riding the freak wave cowboys.
Hey, thanks, Lee D. Let's see. Raker said she had been dead at least 12 hours. So 12 hours would be kind of just getting dark in April at 6:55 p.m., right? The woman's remains were still unidentified since April 19th, and this is already the 28th. Thanks, Lee D and Zozo. Let's see. Workers at Pilot Oil cleaned the area where the body was found at about 8 p.m. the night before and saw nothing. In all, sheriff's detectives have followed up more than 100 leads, and none have been helpful in identifying the woman. She is described as being a white woman in her mid-20s. Well, thanks, Sarita, but man, you didn't have to do that. Jeez. To mid-30s with shoulder length and reddish-brown hair. She is 5'3" and weighed 115 pounds. So she's 20 to 30. She's only 5'3" and only 115 pounds. She had brown eyes and fair complexion. Stretch marks indicate that she gave birth. Look at that, 3 Aussies in a row there. What's going on, man? Stretch marks indicate that she gave birth to at least one child, and she has a white mole on the right bridge of her nose. Right there, maybe? Oh, right there. If anyone can help identify the woman, they are... okay, so I'm not going to read that. And so this kind of came out around that same time. This is about a week after that one. These women are the slaying victims whose deaths are being investigated by the task force, according to the Ohio Attorney General's office. Their bodies were found by roadsides or interstate highways. Jane Doe number 3 has not been identified officially and has been added to the list, but her death is being looked at by the task force. Listed are the women's names and ages. Jane Doe, April 24th, 4th, 1981. So that's not the one we're talking about. Marcia Matthews, 1985. Shirley Dean Taylor, 86. April Barnett, 1986. Jill Allen, 1986. Anne Marie Patterson. So I wonder if we should look into these. Mary Reeves, 1987. Jane Doe number 1, 1987. LaMonica Cole, 1987. Terry Rourke, 1988. Jane Doe number 2, November 5th, 1990. And, the one we're talking about, you could add to that. The most recent Jane Doe or unknown victim, this is an article from the same article actually. The most recent Jane Doe or unknown victim was a woman in her 20s whose beaten body was found behind a truck stop off I-70 in Licking County in central Ohio on April 19, 1990. An autopsy showed she had given birth sometime in her life, so she has a child. She wasn't buried until June 18th. The Reverend Robert Knox of Newark conducted a graveside. This is 1991. This is like a year later, this article. I was wondering what the hell they were talking about. Okay, she wasn't buried until June 18th. The Reverend Robert Knox of Newark conducted a graveside service at Spring Grove Cemetery while his wife Dorothy snapped photos to give to her family in case she was ever identified to show them she had a Christian burial. Little girl of God, I wonder what your last moments on earth were like, Knox said at the service. No human voice, no caring human hand, but this we know, that God was present. God, her name is known only to you. We pray that she will be given in heaven what was withheld from her on earth. Then the Knoxes bought a tombstone for this mystery woman, and I don't have what it reads, unfortunately. All right, so then about 6 months later, TV trying to solve the truck stop homicides. So I think this is referring to a bunch of these. On a cold, snowy afternoon, Licking County Sheriff's officials huddled around a body found lying in the grass behind the Union 76 truck stop off Ohio 37. Onlookers gathered their curiosity piqued by the flashing lights of sheriff cruisers. An ambulance stands by. The wind snaps at the yellow tape sealing off the crime scene. Sheriff Jerry Billy lifts a sheet covering the body for a closer look, while Chuck Patterson snaps pictures. To the casual observer on this November 24th afternoon, one might think a homicide has just been discovered. However, a keener look reveals a camera crew poised behind a couple of semi-trailer rigs across the lot. A director calls out, "Action!" as a huge red semi pulls by. Filming of an episode of Unsolved Mysteries, the nationally televised crime show, is underway. Focus of the show will be the so-called truck stop homicides. I'm going to have to go find that one. I think it's on one of these channels. Maybe Netflix. I don't know. The task force is investigating the deaths of 8 suspected sex workers found dead along Interstate Highway in Ohio since 1985. The show will feature 3 of the women found dead in Ohio, 1 in Licking County. So she definitely, that sounds like they're referring to her as a sex worker here. Known only as Jane Doe, a woman was found dead April 19, 1990, behind the Pilot Oil Station, Ohio 37 and Interstate 70. The discovery of her body and crime scene was being recreated Sunday afternoon. In this case, Jane Doe was portrayed by an actress who returned to the warm confines of a LCSO forensic van after each take. With temperatures hovering near 60, crews rolled into town Friday afternoon with 2 trailers in tow. So anyways, they're talking more about how they made the movie. So, or the show. So they made an episode and she was in it. So we should go try to find that one. Now moving to 1993. Here are the Akron area victims of truck stop murders. So now we've got another list that I'm going to take a look at some point. Alright, so now we're moving all the way up until 2017, which is 24 years later. Cold case victim was a Louisville vet mom. No one except her killer is sure how Louisville mother and veteran ended up battered and mostly nude, dumped in rural Ohio. For nearly 27 years, her name remained a mystery, but a determined Louisville Metro Police detective helped identify the body as Patrice Anita Corley. Corley was 29, remember they said between 20 and 30, with a toddler son when someone beat her in the head, causing her to die of blunt force trauma. Sheriff officials told the network Advocate, part of the USA Today network, her body was left near a dumpster behind a bustling truck stop. Her only clothing was underwear. And usually they don't change where the dumpsters are. Let's see. Yeah, that's just, you know. Ah, look at that. Man, we get to go inside the truck stop. And there's a dumpster there. They said it was on grass, though. Thanks, Stephen N. Yeah, just a cup of coffee, huh? Well, what's this building here? Let me check. Maybe that's just the other portion. That's Marathon. This is the pilot. Yeah, see pilot there. And a dumpster. Dumpster's definitely right there. You wonder if there was some other dumpsters around out. Let me take a look from here. Look over to the left. No. Yeah, it could. I don't know. I don't know where the grass would be. But, anyways. Corley was 29 with a toddler son when someone beat her in the head, causing her to die of blunt force trauma. Sheriff officials told the network. Okay, her only clothing was underwear. An employee with the Pilot gas station near farmland, about 30 miles east of Columbus, found her body on April 19th, 1990. It's a spot frequented by truckers and other travelers looking for a place to gas up or grab a quick bite at the interchange.
The best of the best. I appreciate all of your work, great.
Thank you, Super Mean Sadie. That was Super Mean Sadie. I mean, I don't know why money sound scared me, but I was just really focused in on what I was reading. Is it always had that We Are Freaks pop up like that? I've never seen that. Hold on a second. Oh, it was Super Mean Sadie both times, so thank you very much. I see those. And it helps because today I spent, I mean, getting a lot of those shipments to all the mugs. I think I have 9 mugs, and then I did send another hoodie. So, but that's okay. You guys are always so generous, it doesn't matter. It's just gonna... What does that say? Oh, my emoji mugs. I don't even know what that looks like. It's so old. Yeah, you can go back to sometimes. It's just not really that. You know, it's not going to change much. I mean, they added some parts to it, but this part looks the same. Yeah. You can't go to Street View, though, where we could see the dumpster. Yeah, that part's the same. I think that might be somewhat new. But yeah. Anyways, let me get back to the article. An employee with the Pilot gas station near farmland about 30 miles east of Columbus found her body on April 19, 1990. It's a spot frequented by truckers and other travelers looking for a place to gas. Gas up or grab a quick bite at the interchange of Interstate 70 and Ohio 37. The nearest city, Newark, is about 10 miles away. Investigators with the Licking County Sheriff's Office asked the public for help identifying the body from a sketch artist's rendering of her face, but the case went cold. The investigators in Ohio didn't know that Corley's sister-in-law tried to report her missing in the Louisville area, but was told she wasn't a blood... Yeah, well, thanks very much, Super Mean Sadie. I like it. You're so mean. So she wasn't a blood relative, so she couldn't report her missing. That's so ludicrous, you know. And that was who said that was a regional systems administrator for NamUs, a national case management system. Last fall, the sister-in-law called the Louisville Metro Police Department, which formed in 2003 when the Louisville and Jefferson County Police Departments were merged. Detective Ann Hogan filed the report and began contacting Corley's relatives, getting DNA from a relative's cheek swab. That DNA was later linked to the body through testing by the University of North Texas. Louisville police held a news conference Thursday to announce that Corley had been found and that the department is working with Ohio investigators to find out who killed her, Detective Mike Louder said in a news conference. She would be 57 years old now. Corley is buried atop a hill near other scattered graves outside of Newark. Robert Knox, a Church of Christ minister and U.S. Marine veteran, bought her a small granite headstone inscribed with the day she was found under Jane Doe. The coroner determined that the victim had given birth, so the minister also included somebody's mother, somebody's daughter. A wooded cross was placed in the earth beside her. He held a Bible and teared up while holding a prayerful burial service. It was a big story around here, his daughter Connie Barkus said. It affected him a lot. Reverend Knox, who died in 2009, also had paid for the burial plot. He did that for others too, his daughter said. He did a lot of funerals when people didn't have anyone else, Barkus said. He thought everyone should have a proper burial. Her Louisville relatives have visited her grave. Bill Hayes, the Licking County prosecutor, said his office... I mean, how far away is Louisville from there? I mean, it's really far. I mean, did she live near where she was found, or did she... it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Or was she with a trucker, and the trucker dumped her off here? You get what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? Actually, that was a picture, wasn't it? There it is. Jane Doe, April 19th, 1999. There's the cross that they were just talking about. All right, this is another article. And that's her right there. There she is. Let's see. Yeah. I don't know. I guess so. Body was buried. I think this is pretty much the same story. She was identified. And then we're going to move to 2019. And then here's a longer one story. It's amazing. It's cool. We're still talking about it, right? Prosecutor. Arizona man likely not tied to homicide. An Arizona man indicted last week in connection with the 1992 Mahoning County homicide isn't believed to be connected to a 1990 Licking County cold case. Samuel Legg III, 49, was indicted last week on 3 counts of aggravated murder and 1 count of murder, all unclassified felonies. Let's see. The AP also reported that the rape case had been reopened after a DNA connection to Legg was made as part of an investigation into 4 truck stop slayings from the 1990s, including 3 in Ohio and 1 in Illinois last week. Or no, in Illinois. And then it says, last week. Sorry. Legg was indicted on aggravated murder charges as a result of a probe into the death of Sharon Kedzierski, 43, at a truck stop near Youngstown in April 1992. A coroner determined she died of blunt force trauma. See, the thing is, it's not like, wow, it's so weird and unusual that a trucker is a serial killer. Okay, here's the thing, though. Very few truckers are serial killers, but it's the perfect job for them to be able to do what they're doing. And so it's not rare to hear about sex workers being killed at truck stops or dumped on highway exits, and then they, where you exit and you can go back onto the freeway. It happens all the time. It's crazy. So it doesn't mean that there's a ton of them. Like 50% of truckers, I'm talking about less than probably 0.5%, not even 0.5%, just a tiny 1 in 1,000 maybe, if that. But, if you have 100,000 truckers, well, you might get a pretty big number. Yeah, I know, Tricia. Jeez, thanks. I thought I described it pretty well. All right, Licking County Prosecutor Bill Hayes, however, said he doesn't believe Legg is connected to the death of Patrice Corley, whose body was found at 8 a.m. on April 19, 1990, outside the Pilot gas station near the Interstate 70 and Ohio 37 exchange. Yeah, it could be. I can tell you we are still investigating the case, Hayes told the Advocate. I think Legg was connected to those 4 cases through DNA, and we don't think we can connect him to the case that way, referring to this one. Hayes continued, saying there was a lot of evidence gathered in the case, and investigators continued to take every precaution possible and are making efforts to make what evidence they did collect work. Corley's identity... See, here's the thing. Let me just say this. She's a sex worker, and let's say she has semen in her, and it leads to an individual. But how do you know that she didn't get out of his... He could easily just claim, oh, no, yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, she got out of my car, and I drove away. And then somebody else killed her. the actual serial killer person. That's just a guess, Zozo, if it's 1 in 1,000. I mean, I don't quote that at all. I just came up with that. I don't like when people think, oh my God, all truckers are serial killers. It's just a perfect job for a serial killer. Yeah, we're talking about something else though, Super Mean Sadie. We're going over this individual named Patrice Corley. Corley was found in April 1990 wearing only a pair of underwear. She had no identification, and no one came forward to claim her body. An autopsy performed at the time of her death revealed she died from blunt force trauma after she was struck in the head. Despite the identification in 2017, Hayes said Corley's death still remains a cold case. He hopes investigators can warm it up. We've actually been working on it for a couple of years, he said. Well, hopefully they took the DNA and at least they can start trying to piece it together. But it'd be pretty easy for them to, the killer to just claim, especially since she was a sex worker, that, yeah, no, he could just totally admit that he had sex with her and then he left and he doesn't know what happened to her. It's going to be really tough to prove unless there's other DNA, like under her fingernails or some other thing. Some other DNA that would only be there if there was some other action going on. Yeah, they're saying they don't think it was Super Mean Sadie. She's just, what I do is I look for any time the name shows up in articles, and you can kind of see what they were thinking at the time. I had this whole huge list over here. Look at all these other ones right here. Maybe some of these are part of the ones that he got booked on, I guess. 4 different cases were related. All right, let's see. And then here's another guy. Arizona man charged in 1992 slaying, linked by DNA to Ohio truck stop killings. So this might be the same person that they were just talking about. Let's see. Well, that guy's name is Samuel Legg. And so that's Samuel Legg right here. This is him. Yeah, she's not even mentioned in this one. But I think he's related to the other ones. It'd be kind of cool to look those up. And this one's from around that time too. That a potential serial killer was trolling truck stops, interstate highways that crisscross Ohio was first revealed in this 1991 Dispatch story. The story concludes with this: a suspect may someday be linked to the homicides by DNA testing. So maybe this is what Super Mean Sadie was talking about. Was this the guy you're referring to? I just think there's a lot there. If there's 7 or 8 serial killers at the same time going to truck stops killing people, man, it's kind of hard to sort of place them all together. But DNA could link them all. You put them in the CODIS, the victims, the DNA that came from the killer or just the rapist, and you can see if they're connected. And you can put them all together. Now you just have to do genealogy to identify them, and then all those cases can be tied back to one person. That's crazy. Well, who's the person you were talking about, Super Mean Sadie? Name with an X in it? Never heard of that one. But there's a lot of serial killers I haven't heard of. There's a lot of serial killers out there that none of us have heard of. Right? They're just ones that aren't famous or popular, and they never get talked about. Now let's just see what this one says. It's not horrendously long. At first, deputies thought the slaying was an isolated incident not uncommon to Matthews' profession, referring to, let's see, Marcia Matthews was first. Severely beaten, she was found unconscious on I-71 near Mansfield on June 12, 1985. The 25-year-old convicted sex worker died before regaining consciousness. At first, deputies thought the slaying was an isolated incident not uncommon to Matthews' profession. I don't know, man. I think every killing... I think 90% of the killings of sex workers is by a serial killer type person. What other reason would you have to do it? It's like, you're having sex, you paid for it, okay, boom. I don't know. I think there's just very likely that every time a sex worker is killed at truck stops and around like that, it's somebody that's killed other people. Like literally every single time. Almost. A serial killer may be trolling Ohio interstates and truck stops, claiming at least 9 female victims who are linked in both life and death. Most of the victims are known or suspected sex workers, part of a flourishing sex-for-sale industry centered on truck stops and linked by freeways and citizen band radios. Since 1985, bodies have been found scattered across 4 states. 6 have been discovered in Ohio. The other 3 were found near interstates in Illinois, Pennsylvania, and New York. The women have bonds despite time and distance. These links among the 9 women have emerged. 3 of the Ohio victims worked from the Union 76 truck stop in Austintown, Ohio. Police records show that the truck stop east of Akron and west of Youngstown in the state's largest is the state's largest. Okay, 8 victims were missing clothing, mostly undergarments and shoes. FBI experts say serial killers often keep victim trophies. Victims were all beaten, strangled, and suffocated. All were killed someplace other than where they were found. No weapon has been found. No Ohio law enforcement agency has comprehensively tracked the unsolved homicides. FBI agent John Dunn, a spokesman for the Cleveland office, said the Bureau informally reviewed 5 of the slayings, but is unaware of any forensic evidence linking them. But more Ohio investigators are now saying some of the slayings appear to be connected. All agree the killer is most likely a truck driver who is believed to have used the names of Dr. No, Stargazer, and Dragon while luring women to his cab using a citizen band radio. So this is probably that Mr. X that you're talking about. Detective Jeff Burlingame of the Medina County Sheriff's Department said some agencies have shared information, but the state needs to set up a task force to become an organized investigation. Warren County Sheriff Detective Mark Develius said he has been following the trail of prostitute bodies and believes there are links.
I don't believe in coincidences. No attempt was made to hide Marcia Catherine Matthews. Dumped on I-71, her torso straddled the inside southbound lane in berm. A blunt object was used to beat her face. Matthews, 25, of Newark, often worked from the Union 76 Plaza north of Mansfield in Richland County. A trucker discovered Matthews' body less than a mile from the truck stop at 5:30 a.m. She appeared to be dead. Perhaps the killer thought so too. Paramedics found a faint pulse, but Matthews died 2 hours later. The Akron native, 5'7", 135 pounds, was fully clothed. Sexual assault was impossible to determine because of Matthews' profession. See, that's kind of what I was alluding to a few minutes ago. FBI behavior science experts say a serial killer's first victim is often an aberration to the pattern that may evolve. So keep that in mind when you think about Delphi too sometimes, right? It's like, if that was his first one, he may be killing after that, but we just don't know. He may have evolved in his MO. FBI behavioral science experts say a serial killer's first victim is often an aberration to the pattern that may evolve. Often the first murder is rushed. Success in the first kill can lead to a more brazen slaying, experts say. A trucker who stopped to urinate found the second woman's body on I-71 at a closed public rest stop near I-76 exchange. Clad in a black camisole, the body of Shirley Dean Taylor, 23, was found behind a 3-foot-high concrete traffic barrier that was placed across a westbound exit ramp into the stop. Taylor's face was beaten with a blunt object. See, that sounds similar. It actually sounds very similar to Patrice Corley, too. Thin ligature marks were found on her neck, indicating the killer had tried to strangle her before beating. The rest of the clothes, panties, pants, shoes have not been found. The 5'6", 125-pound sex worker and native of Pulaski, VA, was last seen at the Union 76 truck stop in Austintown. Other sex workers at the Austintown truck stop said Taylor was solicited over the CB radio by a trucker calling himself Dr. No, and said Detective Jeff Burlingame of the Madison County Sheriff's Department. Truckers often use fake names called handles when talking on CB. We found at least 5 guys who called themselves Dr. No, and nobody could use the name, and anybody could use the name. These guys changed their names every week. Standard crime scene procedures instructed investigators to check surrounding areas for clues. The Ashland County Sheriff's Department never bargained for a 70-mile crime scene. A trucker pulling into a rest stop on I-71 3 miles north of Route 30 made a grisly discovery. April Barnett, 18, was found strangled in a grassy area next to the highway. She was a sex worker who had worked at the Union 76 truck stop in Austintown. We found her clothes 70 miles down the road, one piece at a time, Martin said. Some clothing has never been found. Barnett became the 3rd victim found in a 50-mile strip of I-71. She was familiar. Voice on CB deputies said the young woman whose CB persona was tongue teaser was silenced. All right. Jill Allen, doe-like eyes seemed to express innocence. She looked younger than her 28 years. She became a new face at Illinois truck stops along I-70 in late 1986. Her first brush with police came November 17, 1986, when she was charged with trespassing at a truck stop. Deputies believe she was a sex worker. The next month, she left for good in a body bag. Her partial... That was kind of a cold way to write that sentence. Okay, don't worry about it. Let me just cover what I'm covering. Her partially clothed body was found on an eastbound ramp to I-70 near the intersection of Route 40. She was strangled. Thin ligature marks were found on her neck, Detective Leonard said the detective. Pieces of her clothing, panties, bra, and winter coat have never been found. An autopsy showed Allen had been dead only a few hours. Investigators believe the trucker who discovered the body may have been only minutes behind the killer. Anna Marie Patterson, 27, promised to look for clues into slayings of other sex workers, at the Austintown Union 76 truck stop. She disappeared the next day. Wow, that's almost a little bit like oxen dying or something. For clues into the slayings of another sex worker at the Austintown Union 76 truck stop, she told an Austintown police officer she feared for her life. She disappeared the next day. Wow, that's weird. That is similar, seemingly, right? The Findlay, Ohio native was found 40 days later near a creek bed along I-71 just north of Cincinnati, more than 250 miles from Austintown. The 5'5", 130-pound woman who used the CB handle of Sleeping Beauty was anything but that when found. This is kind of cold, don't you think? The way this is written. Yeah, it's almost like you're kind of... I don't know. I don't understand why you'd write it like that. She died of massive blows to the head, probably from a blunt object, an autopsy determined. Patterson also was 6 months pregnant, the autopsy showed. Oh boy. Deputies said they learned that Patterson's husband, William, worked as her pimp. He reported her missing February 14, 1987, after he drove from Austintown to a truck stop near Barkerville, Pennsylvania. Mr. Patterson said he dropped off his wife at the truck stop and never saw her again. He is not considered a suspect. Well, he should be considered a moron, though. The body was found wrapped in a sleeping bag. At the morgue, exposure to room temperature caused rapid and severe decomposition, said Detective Mark DeVelius. The body condition made it impossible to determine sexual assault. A Pennsylvania couple interested in buying the land discovered the body. Well, I probably didn't buy it at that point. Anne Marie Patterson was wearing a pullover shirt, panties, maroon pantyhose. No other clothing has been found. Yeah, so it sounds like a lot of these are the same. Let me see if Corley's in here. That doesn't look like it. DNA is the unique chemical code often called... When was this written? Yeah. 2019. Yeah, I think most people know what DNA is at this point. Yep, so anyways, at least they got her identified. They're still trying to... I think it's going to be tough, though. That's what makes it tough with sex workers, is the DNA that's inside of them. Now, if you can... Here's what I would say. If you can find 5 or 6, not even 5, 2 or more women that are murdered that have the same semen in them, now you're looking at a serial killer. Right? The guy, it'd be so hard to explain it that away. Well, wow, that's so weird that 2 of the women that I had sex with just died. One, you could easily explain that. But if there's multiple women that are dead and you are the last semen that they could find in them, well, you're in bad shape at that point. I think any jury with brains would realize that. No, I'm telling you, every single one of them, I just dropped out and they got murdered by somebody else. Just totally bizarre coincidence. You know, I have this other one, but I think I'll just save this one. It's getting kind of late now. I've already been on here for 3 hours and 6 minutes. So it's the Margaret and Howard Hood. That's another weird one, but I'll do that one tomorrow. I'm gonna move it to that folder. I'll create one for tomorrow. And there we go. Got it ready for tomorrow. Yeah, well, it's pretty slow too, and it's just, I might as well just extend that one out. But it's been 3 hours and 7 minutes and 52 seconds at this point. I thought that was pretty interesting though, right? All of them? What do you guys think? Yeah, it's weird when you get back to what you used to do, it just goes, bizarre. But anyways, this is what we normally do on this channel, everybody, is go over cold cases from just ones that you're probably never going to hear of. Ever. Alright, so let me do the...
Thank you to Zozo, Linda Howell, Cairo, Kevin Brown, Matt, Zozo, Lee D, Susie Heath, Zozo, Gene Fish, Carolina T, David Arnold, Susie Heath, Maureen Gardner, Trudy Richards, Jessica Schubach, Zozo, Lee D, Sarita, Stephen M, and Super Mean Sadie.
Yeah, there you go. All right, wow. Those are... Some of these just seem like they should be solved already, don't they? I don't know. I even think the lady that got killed with the Syrian name, I guess. It seems like that one should be something they should have been able to figure out. I mean, because there is a connection between her and the person who killed her. There's no doubt about it. Nobody just does that. Hey, I'm going to go down the street, and I'm going to go into a cul-de-sac, I'm going to go to the front door, and then I'm going to knock on the door, and then somebody's going to answer, and then I'm going to shoot him, and I'm going to sprint back to my car and peel away. Now, there's definitely more to the reason why this person did it, and I think they must have missed something at some point that would have led to that person. And man, what a tough case to solve, right? If the gun wasn't used in another crime. You know what I think they should do is fire every single gun and put it into a database, the striations and whatnot, just like fingerprints. So every single gun that's manufactured has to be fired, and then you can try to find the owner that way of it, something like that. I don't know if they have something kind of like that, but every single gun, it should be a requirement. So even people that own guns now, you have to take them in, they fire them, and then they put it into the database. So if your gun's ever used, then you know you can maybe track the ownership of it somehow. But anyways, yeah, exactly, like a ballistic CODIS type thing. Seems like it'd be simple to do too. I don't know, Gene, you're the encyclopedia. Go look it up in your brain. Oh. No, this is really late for the show. We usually end the show at like 10:30 something. Yeah. So I'm sure there might be something similar, but I think every new gun manufactured, and people are required to bring their gun in, fired, and then that's cataloged and put into a database. Okay? It just makes sense. And then, of course, the really bad criminals would never do that. That'd be stupid. You know, but at least if the gun was transferred to somebody that used it for something. Anyways, this person just walked right up to the door, shot. There's going to be no DNA at all. You know, I guess there's possibility that on the shell, a partial fingerprint, but maybe the person was smart enough to pick it up off the ground. The 2 shells that would have been left, unless it was a revolver, then there wouldn't be any shells. And he just shot, took off, got in his car, drove away. And there's nothing. And it was also pre everybody having surveillance cameras. I mean, there's literally nothing helping at all to determine who that person is. So it would be that you'd have to try to figure it out by somebody telling a story, or just based on circumstantial evidence, and then try to build a case, you know. Because there's almost no physical evidence other than the bullets that hit her and maybe shells, right? That's it. You know, maybe a strand of hair fell off on accident. Yep, you have to register guns here. Yep. I don't think there might be something like that, but I don't think every single gun, I mean, is in this system. I think they should make it so that every single gun needs to be in there. Of course, like I said before, it'll I don't know, because then people start messing up with the inside the barrel, change it up a little bit. You know, it's just, who knows. But anyways, thank you guys all for supporting the channel. Thank you for hanging out here. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, make sure you wash your hands. Maintain your social distancing. Wear a mask. And for God's sakes, take the shot as soon as it's offered to you. Okay? I'm not kidding. Now, if you're somebody that's, you know, an anti-shot person, that's cool too. But, you know, I'm sorry for your loss. But go ahead, everybody else, take the damn shot. You know, whichever one. Johnson & Johnson, 100% effective against severe COVID disease. That's all we really give a shit about. And 70% from even catching the damn thing. All right? Boom. Oh, you going to get the Johnson & Johnson? Oh, you got your first one, Noreen? Okay. Good for you. Man, how are you guys like way older than me, or are you just in some weird state that's giving you your shots? Hey, no problem, Jen. I gotta mix in some drama, though, you know? It was just so weird watching, you know, like even Chasing Truth, and she got sort of caught up in a little bit of drama, analyzing it. And man, she had like 500 or 600 people watching her channel. And then everybody's over watching this one and it was just this big amoeba of people. And I just feel so disappointed in people, you know? Like, what in the hell? It's so there's nothing important to be watching in those drama channels. Nothing. It's all just entertainment. Every single bit of it. And people are like signing up memberships all over the place. Oh yeah, I can't wait. You know what it's like on these drama channels? Wrestling. I just make the exact analogy to World Wrestling Federation. You know, everybody's on, there's a bad guy, and then there's good guys. And then sometimes the good guys become bad, and then sometimes the bad guys become good guys, and then sometimes the bad guys fight against bad guys, and people watch that, and then maybe because of the bad guy versus the bad guy fight, the bad guy becomes a good guy in the eyes of people, and then that good guy then becomes friends with already the good guys, and then after those people communicate for a while and they fight each other, then one of the good guys becomes an enemy of the other one, and then it's a joke. Okay, that's exactly how World Wrestling Federation works. There's nothing, you know, at least in that one there's some fake fighting going on, so it's mildly entertaining, but you don't get anything out of these drama channels. There's nothing interesting in there. It's you know what? It's scary to me that people are into that. I'm sorry. I you know, sometimes I go over to Chasing Truth's channel because, you know, she would just hang out and talk about stuff, and it was cool. And I sometimes go on to some of these at night just to kind of see what's going on. But wow, I mean, I'm so not into it. I don't care what anybody said, who said what, or any of that. And how anybody's interested in that, I don't know. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, what was the answer? How are you guys getting these vaccines? Oh, you have an existing condition. Yeah, I heard that, like with asthma. Yeah, maybe I can work some angle in. Does having a really huge brain that can't think quick enough, does that count? Can I get like a what? A shot? Oh, see? Yeah, I mean, I'll go over there and watch sometimes. I just don't understand it. I realize, as I said at the beginning of the show, that a lot of these drama people, they now speak in a passive-aggressive way to everybody. You know, like I was saying earlier today, I was on the channel, and Chasing Truth was like, oh man, you know, I just started watching Gray at the beginning, and he was really putting out accurate stuff, and and then I look over and Purple Perplex, or whatever hell her name is, says, hey, Gray's just a normal person, everybody. He's no better than anybody. It's like, dude, what are you talking? Look at that, might be true, right? But I mean, what are you talking about? You know? And the truth is I do feel like I put out work through the cases better than most of these people do it. They're going to go right to a conspiracy, weird ass shit the whole time. And we come up with reasonable things, right? But it was just weird how, you know, she was trying to be nice, it seemed like. And it was just the way she talks now. People just do that. It's really weird. They speak in a passive-aggressive way naturally now because they're always on guard, fighting against other people 24/7. Yeah, it really was. It was strange. I couldn't believe that she typed that in there. Yeah. And then she's like, hey, listen, Graham, I'm gonna send you candles, and what we're gonna do is I'm gonna send it to everybody, and you can get a free one, but everyone else has to buy it. No, listen, I'm not gonna have you guys go buy, have an offer to buy candles from drama channels. Okay. So I'm not interested in that. So yeah, you guys should do the missing persons Facebook group. It's not a page on Facebook, but it might be something that needs to be switched to a page depending on how they work. So we'll see. You notice how we're all talking about something else and Jennifer keeps talking about the shot issue, never really jumping into what we're talking about? What's going on, Jennifer? Try to join in sometimes. Let's see. Every time I read your comment, I'm hoping it's something related to what we're talking about. Like, hey, and it's like, darn it. Darn it, man. Join our conversation. Yeah, I am, because I'm reading your comments. Let's see. Yeah, don't make sure to do it, though. Yeah, we were talking about shots a long time ago. Yeah. Yep, like 5 minutes ago. Right, yep, I asked how a long time ago. Yeah, I don't have a pre-existing condition where I get to have one. You know, that's the problem. See, you always get so upset so fast. You know, just, it's okay, Jennifer. It's going to be all right. Yeah. So how do we come up with pre-existing conditions? I need to find one. I think people who want to get shot should be able to get them first. Like, people are like, yeah, give me one, you know. Have them get them first. And then work on the people who kind of don't want to get them. Well, good for you, Zozo. What you should do is start a whole new thing and talk about all those other things. Okay, we were just talking about a specific topic. You know, moving on, kind of working through things. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. All right, everybody. Let me get the hell out of here. It's one of those shitty endings of a show. So, anyways, I thought the cases were interesting. Gonna talk to you guys a little bit later. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Grader's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. Alright, everybody?